Welcome, Shredders. I don't know. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, or whatever it is, Jesse says. Hey, I hope I'm doing this right. We had a little technical difficulty for some reason, and here we are. It is episode number 68, and I have with me my beautiful wife, Marcole, and we're gonna share some of our story with all of you tonight. If you're just tuning in to Shred Your Body for the first time, uh, just beware that we are brand new too. So welcome. Thank you for showing up. As you come in, drop your. I'm gonna turn that noise off. Drop in the comments where you're coming from. Say hello, and it is good to have you here with us tonight. Let me turn my notifications off so I don't keep getting those blings. So, Marcole, can you say something so I can make sure? Can I cannot? Are you on mute? No. Say it
Can you
again.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's better.
Okay.
It was my side. So, Marcole and I have been married for 24 years in May. It will be 24 years in May, and been together a little bit longer than that. So I know her pretty well. As you might guess, we have been together longer than uh, the gal that gave birth to her, my mother-in-law. So, um, hey, Sean, Heidi, Mimi, what's up? So, so I know all the right questions, and I definitely know all the answers to those questions. But we're gonna do our best to share with you guys our story. So, Marcole is a homemaker, um, and a wonderful one at that. She is the driving force in our family, the organized one of the two of us. She keeps us all in line, all of us kids, the two that we had, and this one right here, and so she is great at that job, and it is a full-time job and then some. She worked outside of the house a little bit when we were younger, newlyweds, and we've been fortunate enough that I've made it enough money that she could be home with the kids every day, and now we make enough part of the year that I can be home with them as well a lot. So that's been a real blessing. But I would like Marcole, if you would, honey, to um, share with everyone your story. If you can take us back to birth, kind of tell everybody a little bit about how you were born and how that has affected your life and your health. And we'll just get started. How's that?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear
Okay.
you.
All right.
And I'm
So,
gonna sip my Dad Joke Pro coffee while you do that.
all right. So again, my name is Marcole, and a little history. My dad's name is Mark, and they like the name Nicole, and it was pretty common when I was born, so he kind of like combined it. So that's kind of where Marcole comes from. A lot of people ask me about that, and then follow it up with, "I've never heard that before." Well, neither have I. So, I'm I will be for what, 44, 45? No, I'll be 45 in
Yeah,
July.
yeah,
Yes, 45 in July. So I
younger than
was
me
born.
by a few years. So
I was born with a condition called gastroschisis, and that is actually where your intestines are outside of your body. And when I was born in the mid-70s, my mother did not know that I actually had that birth defect. So when I was born, it was pretty traumatizing for my mom. And subsequently, I was put on an airplane. They didn't have life flight at the time, so it was actually a volunteer little Cessna airplane with a pilot and a nurse and me that went hundreds of miles and left my mother behind in the hospital. And so I had 19 surgeries before I was just a couple months old. And to get the intestines back inside, they could not just put them in because everything had shifted. My heart, my kidneys, my liver, my diaphragm had filled that entire void. So if they had just pushed them back in, I actually would have suffocated. So it was a slow and long process. And so finally got them back in, and I've got a massive scar to prove it. So
the zipper, as we like to call it.
Yes, it's the zipper. My brother, when we were teenagers, used to say, "I wish I had your 11 pack." So we used to count the little, anyway. So because of that, I have a ton of scar tissue. And by a ton, I mean a ton. They've gone back in twice and revised the scar because it has attached to my organs. It's very painful. And the feeding tube has attached to the bottom side of my rib cage. So, and like attached all the way around the bottom of my rib to the back of my ribs. So they've gone in twice now and redone that one. And because of that, we had some.
Hang on, I'm going to stop you for a second. So, so explain what they had to do. So when they went in and did all those surgeries, those revisions, what was it? What were they doing?
They would literally cut right over top of the scar and open it up and then clean off all of the scar tissue on the backside. And that was cutting through tissue and muscle. They literally just cut my stomach muscles right down the middle to get to the backside and cleaned everything out.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it just causes more scar tissue, unfortunately.
Right. And you were tiny then. You were a frail little child, right?
Yeah. And then I had a big revision in high school. That was pretty brutal. I remember that one big time.
Yeah. So with gastroschisis and your intestines are on the outside, in the 70s, so you said that you told me that they had your intestines in a bag, right? On the outside of you, and they slowly massaged them back into your abdomen from that bag, right?
Right. As they made more incisions to make the hole bigger and then had to move organs out of the way. So
if you can imagine all of your intestines in a bag and they're just kind of pushing them back in there, they're already kind of a mess to begin with. And then they're just kind of squeezing them back in any which way. Right. So what has that done? What's the biggest thing that's done to your GI tract? What do you experience because of that, being all twisted up like that?
A lot of bloating, gas. My stomach will used to make lots and lots of like gurgly noises, and as things are moving through, and just a lot of bloating. And I was told from a very young age to not eat meat and to not eat it rare, especially to make sure that it was very cooked, very small pieces, take little bites, chew, 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 chew. Yes.
And did they tell you to eat lots of fiber and stuff to keep things moving? Or
yes, Lots of fiber and lots of what they call the roughage. I remember that term as a kid.
Yeah, lots of roughage. Yeah,
So
and how do you do on roughage typically when you eat lots of
lots of gas and
lots of stuff in it?
bloating. Lots of gas, lots of bloating.
Yeah, interesting. So yeah, so when you get all that roughage, you get gas and bloating. And what happens now that we eat mostly red meat? How's that serving you?
I don't have any issues
Huh.
at all.
Interesting. But you probably add lots of fiber in there, right? When you're eating ribeye smothered in butter and eggs and bacon and all that stuff, you probably throw lots of extra fiber on top.
Unless you're doing it in secret. Nope.
Okay. All right. So obviously I'm being facetious. I do most of the cooking in the house because Marcole hates to cook, and I definitely don't do that. So just trying to make the point that Marcole has an extra twisty gut, and she has suffered some bowel obstructions just since we've been married, the old way that we ate, and ended up in the hospital eating just a typical Western diet, or the heart healthy diet, I guess, and and not now. So so that's pretty powerful. So so when we met, you had how many surgeries?
Maybe 24.
23, 24.
23
Yeah.
or 24 at that point.
And you were 19.
Yeah.
So you'd had more surgeries than years on the planet at that point.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty incredible. One of the things that I was attracted to about you was that that you were that strong, that you had come through that through your childhood, and and it was just incredible to me because I saw pictures of you as this scrawny little girl, and I imagined, if I go in and get blood drawn, I about faint. So I thought it was pretty incredible that you'd been through those struggles and come out the other side. And so so let's kind of fast forward to when you started doing the ER shred. I know that over our marriage, and well, you tell us, like, when did you see, because when we met, you were petite, and when you grew up, even through all of that, you didn't have a weight issue. For you, it was
no. It was more about my gut and just my bowel obstructions that I had, and just the bloating, and just always feeling like my stomach was hard and descended and just wasn't real comfortable. So no matter what I ate. So no, I didn't really battle with weight. It was just more about how I felt. My weight didn't come on until we had a surprise pregnancy at 39, so 38. And so that's when I had kind of had some weight. I guess I had a little bit when we did in vitro with Paige.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So so why don't you tell that story? How did that all happen when we had?
Well, I've known since I was a little girl, because of all of my scarring, that my body would not function like it should. And in order to conceive, that I would have to go through some major medical. I'd have to have medical help. So Jason and I had been married, 9-10 years, and we started down that path of IVF. And so we went through that whole process, started it, had to stop it because my bowel is attached with more scar tissue. So we just started over again, triple my medication and started over again. And so we ended up getting 11 eggs, 11 embryos. I lost 8 of those.
Yeah. So
sorry.
No,
and
okay.
we have Paige. So we have Paige out of that amazing miracle. So
yeah. And so when they tried to determine if you could have kids naturally, right? If you could have children naturally, they did a test. What was that test that they did?
It's a HCG test, and it's a dye test where they fill the cavity with dye and then watch to see the dye fill the uterus and then come out, go through the fallopian tubes and come out the fallopian tubes. And in that test, it was determined that my fallopian tubes were completely blocked, and my right ovary especially, is completely blocked with scar tissue, so that there was no way to get the eggs into the uterus.
Yeah. And so the doctors told us that it was absolutely impossible, physically impossible for you to have a child natural childbirth. So we opted to do the in vitro fertilization and go through that whole process, which was rather difficult to get my daughter here. And then what happened when we went to Australia? What did we do?
So Paige was almost 8. We went to Australia for 3 months and hung out with the Australia team over there. And when we came back, I was taking 3-hour naps and throwing up.
Wait. Hold on. I'm going to stop you. So when we were in Australia, we stayed at a friend's pool house. He was kind enough to let us stay with him. And that pool house was also his storage for shakes, right? From our fulfillment company. And the people that we stayed with, their favorite meal was what they called meat and veg, which was pretty much grab everything in the fridge, beef, lamb, snaggers, these little sausages that are like oversized breakfast sausages that were mostly lamb and beef, and they just grab all the meat and they'd throw it on the barbecue, and then they'd throw a few bell peppers, capsicums. They didn't eat a whole lot of veg, just a couple of simple things. Usually it was what they call capsicum, which is our bell pepper. And they throw that on the grill, and then they pile it all on a platter, 1 platter meat, 1 platter vegetable, and and that was it. So pretty much every day we were there, we ate steaks and shakes, and it was good Australian grass-fed beef, and a little bit of lamb and things like that.
Kangaroo thrown in there once in a while.
Yeah, this was 10 years ago, 9 years ago. Little did we know we were eating this shredder way clear back then. Not on purpose, but we weren't incubating the shakes, and it wasn't. So we both lost some weight, needless to say.
I was actually doing the dairy-free ones.
Oh, yeah.
Because the dairy ones were bothering me. And then, of course, we didn't know why. We know why now.
Right. That's right. I was eating the whey protein. You were eating the dairy-free because you couldn't do the whey protein, which you don't have any problem with now that we incubate them.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So then we came home, and then what?
Well, I had lost 20, I think I'd lost close to 25 pounds, between 20 and 25.
Mm-hmm.
And so we came back and I was taking 3-hour naps and almost throwing up. And yeah, it was.
And she found an old pregnancy test and took it, and it had 3 little lines on it, and we had a son, miracle baby number 2. The baby that the doctor said that we could never have, like some kind of miracle. And if you don't believe in miracles, he was born Christmas morning, which is really fitting of miracle babies. But anyway, so again, I just want to stop too and say that these are just our experiences, and I'm not saying that if you do the ER shred that you'll have babies. That's not what I'm trying to say, and I definitely don't want to mislead you into believing that 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 we can cure diseases, or we're not making any medical claims. We just want you to know what has been our experience, and so I just wanted to pop that in there. So uh, so now we'll jump ahead a little bit, and to this last year, and maybe I should stop you and I'll share my story, and then we'll just kind of catch them up at the end. So,
Okay.
So I was born with a bit. These are new teeth. I'm trying them out. So I was born with a different birth defect that we were unaware of until just over a year ago. Um, I was born with a pituitary tumor inside my head that I was unaware of. Um, and the doctors say that it was growing my entire life, and probably affected all of my health issues and weight gain my whole life since at least puberty, if not earlier. And so I put on a lot of weight in the summer between 6th and 7th grade year. Um, I became the fat kid in school, and I got teased a lot, um, and I blamed it on our lifestyle at the time. We were doing fairs. My parents did a lot of fairs with their business, and so there were corn dogs and cotton candy and all that stuff around, which I definitely partook in the eating of those things. But I ran all over the place, and I was high energy, and so I didn't understand where it came from. We know now that it was probably due to hormonal changes in puberty because of what was in my head. So if you don't know, the pituitary gland is a tiny little pea-sized thing that dangles below your brain, just behind this spot right here, and it controls lots of hormones, talks to all of the other systems in your body, your lymphatic system, and it sends signals out to those other systems in your body, and tells them to make other chemicals. And we won't get into all of that because it's boring. But anyway, mine had this tumor growing on it, and I struggled with my weight my entire life. Really, really up and down roller coaster. And I tried juicing, green juicing, and I've tried vegan, vegetarian, and anything and everything to get the weight loss off, or to get the weight off, um, because I used to have the mindset that I was a fat guy and I needed to lose weight. And when I went to the doctor with any issues or problems, the doctor would always say, "Well, if you just lose some weight, you'll feel better." And uh, even when I got picked on in high school, I went to the vice principal's office in tears because the kids were picking on me. And the vice principal said, well, have you ever thought about cutting back on the cake and pie? And, things like that. So I grew up and I grew up believing that I was just a fat kid who needed to lose weight. And as an adult, I was the fat adult who needed to lose weight. And now my mindset has shifted, and I understand that that I needed to be healthy, and the weight would just fall off. If I could figure out how to become healthy, the weight would fall off. So about a year ago, I was diagnosed with in 2020, September 2020. I was diagnosed with that tumor. It's called a Rathke's cleft cyst. And it was about the size of a Costco grape, and it smashed my little tiny pituitary to oblivion and caused all kinds of hormone problems. For instance, I had zero testosterone, which meant all the hair on my body went away, and all my lean muscle mass atrophied. And I got to the point where I felt like I was 100 years old and I could barely get out of the chair. It was terrible. And I was self-medicating by drinking Red Bull and vodka. The Red Bull to get me through the day because I didn't have any energy, and the vodka to dull the pain because nothing else seemed to do it. And of course, that was killing me even faster. And fortunately, I got a diagnosis, and and they went in November of 2020, and they pulled that thing out through my nose. Some of you may know this story already because I gave it once or twice before. But so November 2020, we were driving home from the hospital, and I just happened to be on Facebook, and I told Marcole that I needed to get back to drinking shakes and get the weight off now that I felt so much better getting this thing out of my head. And I saw a video from Sean Escobar talking about ER Shred. And I had tried keto before, and anyway, it just looked like it made sense to me. It looked like the right thing to do. So that was literally on the way home from the hospital, on the drive home. And it was divine for sure. And I said, hey, Marcole, look at this. It's Sean talking about isogenics, but he's not doing it. He's not drinking, or he's not doing it the same way, right? We have this new protocol. It's different. Anyway, so this last year has been an incredible part of our journey. Marcole and I have gone through so much. Mark, if it was any other woman but Marcole, we'd have probably been divorced 6 or 7 times since pre-diagnosis for the last 3 years, probably. It's been one hell of a roller coaster. And I went through a time that I was wow, I was pretty awful guy to live with. And I was in a lot of pain, and Marcole stuck it out, and she stuck with me, and I started to lose weight pretty rapidly, and but differently than I had lost it before. And this time, the mindset shifted.
He was gaining a lot of his muscle back that he had lost. The pituitary does hormones that will support your muscles, and he didn't have the human growth hormone at all. So when they took that out and he started doing the shakes and the good quality meats, he started to really gain that muscle back that he had lost. And, he had gotten to the point where his love handles were still there, but his butt muscles were gone. Like, he had lost so much muscle And then when he started doing the ER shred, he started to lose that fat and that muscle started to come back. It was pretty amazing to watch. It was amazing.
Yeah, and there was a lot of other healing going on inside. One, I was and am still fighting the horrible addiction of alcoholism that came along um, with binge drinking um, to numb the pain, right? And so I'm still fighting with that addiction because it just consumed my life for a couple of years, and um, so now if I have a drink, I really know it, I'm trying to get to the point where um, where I don't at all ever, and I'm almost there. Once in a while I slip up, and for me, it's not like I'm treating myself to a cocktail. If I have a drink, I will binge for days. So I'm trying to avoid it altogether. Um, but I at least have this support system to fall back on, which is pretty amazing. My recovery from the gym, which I never used to walk or run or go to the gym or do any of that. And I do that now. And that's replacing my alcohol addiction. Because if I drink, I can't go to the gym and I can't go for a walk. And that's destroying me because I love to do it. So it is taking the place, that addiction is taking the place of the other one. And uh, yeah, and it's a process, but now Marcole has been there with me, and I'm sure that a lot of the stress of just being my wife put on some pounds, because I could only imagine if I had to deal with me as long as she uh, had to deal with me, who I was. I would put on 100 pounds. So now in when did you start? When did you do your first shred?
My
You've
first
kind of
shred,
been drinking shakes and kind of off and
yeah,
on, right? But
right.
this
Yeah,
last year,
I I had been doing the shakes more religiously than he had, um but I did my first perfect ER shred. It was in that first week in October. It was that first week in October
yeah,
when we
right,
were at that event.
yeah.
And
Well, let's talk about that too. Let's talk about that. So it was at the Yuma County Fair in Arizona,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Um, so
our
we
very
are,
unconventional job,
yeah, our non-traditional business.
traditional business.
Uh, yeah, so we have a virtual reality simulator, six-person VR simulator. It's a carny ride, but cooler. And so we take it to fairs and we book in with all the vendors. And um, so we see 30, 50, 60,000 people on a weekend, um, which you can imagine dealing with the public uh, brings some stress. We love it now. It's fun. And so um, it's stressful in that it's loud. There's lots of chaos. We get busy. We have long lines.
Long
You know,
hours.
yeah, and we're working 14, 16-hour days, a lot of days back to back to back. And so we're at the Yuma County Fair, and there's jets flying overhead because they got a uh, Air Force base right by there, and all around us, what kind of food options do we have?
We can do anything fried you want. Bread,
Anything fried?
Snickers, Twinkers,
Oreos? Yeah.
Oreos, all of it. Yeah. Just lots and lots of really fatty foods.
Curly fries, corn dogs, all the fair food you can imagine
Yep.
everywhere, and not anything good to eat except for maybe What do we sometimes eat at the fair?
Sometimes we'll find a good barbecue place that doesn't put any barbecue sauce. So sometimes we can get some shredded pork or beef.
Yeah,
So, but
brisket or pulled pork.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
doesn't happen very often.
they look weird at me when I walk up and say, "No, I don't want any of the sides. Don't put
No
any sauce
sauce.
on it. Just load the boat with meat."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What? You don't no barbecue?" No, no,
No.
just that. I'm gonna go back and put butter and salt on it. And yeah, so we do that on occasion. But the rest of the time, what do we do? How do we get through the fair?
I will take a whole carton of eggs and hard boil them. I'll take like a couple dozen drumsticks or thighs, and I throw them in the air fryer before we go, and then put them in Ziploc bags with melted butter and salt and pepper on them, and then we put those in the cooler. We bring a little cooler on wheels, and we put it in our tent, and we eat cold chicken and hard boiled eggs, and we'll bring jerky. And we've been fortunate enough. We had a Class A motorhome. Now we've got a camper that we've got access to a stove and refrigerator. And so that's been good. So we'll come back.
So eating that way with everybody else having corn dogs and stuff, you must feel pretty deprived, right?
No, I actually like it. My dad is a chef, and at a house we used to have years ago, there was this massive pantry, like huge pantry. And he'd open the doors and he'd go, "Ha ha, what can I make?" And I would open the doors and go, close them. There's nothing in there. So I am not, Jason referred to me as a homemaker. I can do laundry with the best of them, vacuum. I'm good.
She can fold a fitted sheet to a perfect square.
I can. I've actually done a video
in and of itself.
I've actually done a video on how to fold a fitted sheet because no one knows how to tuck the corners. And anyway, but I am not a cook. I don't enjoy it. I don't even like eating. And that probably just comes from all of my years of having such stomach issues that I don't like to cook and I don't like to eat.
So it's a stress reliever. Like
very much.
Yeah. It's so much easier to do on the go.
Yeah.
To take, and we do that when we go on vacations. I mean, we kind of work vacation all the time anyway.
Yeah.
But when we went to Mexico or wherever we go, we just load a bunch of shake packets and a Himalayan salt shaker, and away we go, right? And our shakers or blender. Yeah. So
it's taken the temptation away. A lot of people will be like, okay, I'll just have one treat or one little thing. And being where we are with the food, with the people, we can't just do that one little thing. It's just too much. So it's nice to just be, nope, not doing it. Not happening. None of it's happening. I have kind of a saying that I tell myself all the time when I think about eating something that I shouldn't, is nothing tastes as good as my butt looks in those jeans.
That's the truth.
So
the truth.
I feel amazing. And I mean, the 45 pounds that I've lost going from a size 14 to I just put on a pair of shorts that are a 5. That part is amazing. But what feels the most amazing is just my confidence and just that my stomach is not a mess all the time.
For me, it's the butt. It's the butt.
Yeah.
For sure.
We can be honest about that. It is very true. He is a butt guy.
Probably the butt.
But so, I feel great, and that's what matters.
Yeah. So so how are you sleeping at night now? How is your energy level during the day? How do you feel other than the way you look or
Yes.
the size of
I
your butt?
I'm I'm sleeping really good, except for when our 7-year-old, bless his little heart, um, comes and sneaks in bed with us, and then it's like we're sleeping with an MMA fighter. He is not fun to
Right.
sleep with. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But when I do sleep, it's amazing. I've really battled insomnia for a lot of my adult life. I'm a planner. I'm a list maker. Um, and some people say that, but the amount of notebooks that are around our house with lists upon lists is pretty staggering. So I I would wake up no matter when I went to bed, whether I went to bed at 10 or whether I went to bed at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd wake up about 4 in the morning, and my list would start over my list just, and I'm not having that anymore. So
Yeah.
I'll sleep through the night if Hunter doesn't join us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, and how's your energy during the day? Because you ran circles around me before for obvious reasons, but um, you seem to be even more so now. Like
yeah, we get up and
you're busy, busy, busy anyway,
I
but
am.
now you seem less stressed while you're busy to me.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think my anxiety is a lot less. I'm still busy. I'm just one of those people that doesn't sit very well. I'm just busy. I like projects. I like organizing. I like crafting. It's just my personality. But I feel less anxious about what I'm doing. I feel like I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to, not because I have to, or I'm anxious about what I'm not doing. I'm
Yeah.
just doing whatever project I'm working on. I feel like I'm bouncing less. I used to start something and then go here, and I felt very scatterbrained, I guess is a good way to put it. I felt very
Yeah.
scatterbrained, and
Yeah.
I feel more focused.
Focused. Focus is a good word. That's one thing uh, that's probably my number one thing is since we've been doing this is the mental clarity, right? And just I feel like I did in high school, except that in high school my brain was running 100 miles an hour, and I guess I have as much energy as I did then, uh, but I'm able to focus that energy or that brain power more. So
Yeah, I think
so
so.
that's pretty good. And
I
I'll be
think so.
48 in August, um, so I definitely need all of that I can get with you know brain aged brain problems. So
Well, and especially since we won't be empty nesters till we're what, 60?
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. We
Yeah.
Fortunately we got a lot of the motorcycle riding and fun stuff out in our 20s. So
Yeah.
well, so is there anything else you can think of? We still have about 15 minutes or so. Is there anything else that you wanted to share um,
Um,
relevant to ER Shred?
well, we were talking earlier about, so Hunter nursed for over 3 years. And so what that did to me was I ended up with a huge sugar addiction. I've heard a lot of other moms talk about
Hmm.
nursing, and you need more calories, and those calories you consume aren't always the best. And I ended up with a huge sugar addiction that I've never had before. And this has really helped me because it's just on my no list, just no sugar. I was able to just kind of stop it cold turkey because it was just like I said, I like lists. And so it's just not on my list. So I don't eat it. And it's really helped me to really cut that addiction.
Yeah.
And I know it's helped you, with some of your addictions with food and stuff too.
Yeah.
It's not on the list. We don't buy it. It's not in the house. It's not a temptation. So it's just doesn't get
Yeah.
eaten.
Yeah. And I don't have any cravings for any of that stuff anymore. For me, it was chips. Like I'd go to the grocery store and, and every time I went to the grocery store, I went down the chip aisle and I had to decide, uh, which bag of chips I was going to buy, but I always had to get a bag of chips for some dumb
And
reason,
a 2
or
liter of Dr.
salsa,
Pepper.
and Dr. Pepper, yeah, or other drink, and now I just don't have that craving at all, like
Yeah.
none. Everything that I look for is, uh, you know, zero sugar jerky. That's what I crave now
Yeah.
is beef sticks and jerky um, and people ask me all the time, do you get tired of eating all that meat all the time? And we have enough variety in the meat that we eat, but I don't, and I kind of think that that your body just, I don't know if this is science or not, because I'm uh, definitely not college educated in it, but I know a little bit about your microbiome, the bacteria that's in your gut. And when you eat something sugary and you're addicted to it, your gut um, sends a dopamine hit to your brain like a reward. Yeah, good job. Eat more candy bars. And I think that your body just figures out how good you feel, and that gut bacteria changes, to gut bacteria that likes to eat shakes and steaks. And so you get that dopamine hit when you think about drinking a shake, because now that's what I crave. I can't wait, especially after a cleanse day. I cannot wait for that first morning shake. In fact, I was never really a coffee drinker. Now my coffee is my butter delivery system, and I crave it every morning when I get up in the morning. I crave my first cup of coffee just so I can get 2 tablespoons of grass-fed butter. And Marcole was just complaining today. I just put out a big block of butter yesterday. How are we going through all this butter? And
I think I even said, what are people eating it by the literal spoonfuls? And you're like,
well,
yeah.
if you pay attention to the block, sometimes it's cut straight with a butter knife, and other times it's the shape of a big spoon. That would be me. And anyway, so I crave that now. I crave good, healthy, quality fats, and I get a ton of energy when I just take a big bite of butter. And man, I love it. Like we make scrambled eggs with a bunch of butter in it, and I used to not be able to eat eggs, but I figured out that if I eat good free range eggs, I don't have any problem. I
Yeah.
used to I used to not be okay with dark meat chicken, but if the source is good,
Yeah.
um, now I don't have any issue with the chicken.
Yeah. Both of
So
them. I had forgotten about that. Both
yeah,
of those things actually really bothered your stomach.
both of them would make
Yeah.
me gurgly, sick
Yeah.
stomach issues, and straight to the bathroom.
Yep.
And they don't bother me anymore because we figured out that if we get good sourced uh, fats and proteins,
Yeah.
grass-fed beef, grass-fed butter, um, yeah, uh, whatever. If we cut out the sugar, we get zero sugar bacon and zero
Yeah.
sugar jerky, and
It's like a
um,
challenge now for us. We
Yeah.
just moved to Arizona not very long ago. We're from Oregon, so we knew all the stores in Oregon. Well, coming down here, we've got different grocery stores that we're dealing with, and so we're trying all these different stores, and it's like, okay, let's find zero sugar sausage. Ooh, that
Yeah.
one's been a hard one.
Yeah.
That one's been a hard one to find breakfast sausage that has no sugar in it.
Yeah. And we finally found one at Fry's.
I think it was
Simple
Fry's.
Truth brand or something.
But it's only
no sugar, no nitrates, no nitrites. Huh?
It's only the new Fry's in Queen Creek.
The new
The
one,
one in
right?
Gilbert doesn't have it.
Yeah. So sometimes, so we used to just go to Safeway. Whatever the closest grocery store was, we just went there and we bought whatever, right? Filled the shopping cart with garbage. And now it's like a scavenger hunt. We will go to 3 different stores to fill our fridge and it's fun. Like, it is a fun game to go find, like
new stuff.
The new edition was Theo chocolate. I thought, how fun to have some dark chocolate, because Sean said I could. So now I found that a nice little square of dark chocolate once in a while, if it's good quality source chocolate, like the Theo chocolate or the human chocolate or whatever, the best thing in the world is a scoop of butter, Kerrygold butter, on a square of chocolate with a little dash of Himalayan salt. It's very magnifique, right? It's amazing. And so we just found new addictions serve our body that make us feel amazing. We're doing it together, and my niece is staying with us, and she's had incredible results. And my daughter paid attention, so now my 14-year-old is jumping on the bandwagon, and she's been to the gym and eating the way that we are starting to eat. Yes, about to do the ER shred with us for the first time, and it's just awesome. It's really fun. It has changed our life in so many different ways, and as a married couple, lots of good things. Sometimes when the lights are off.
That is
so much better.
People kind of shy away from, but when you've lost weight, and not just the weight, but when you feel good about yourself, it will reflect, and it's I don't know how to say it right. I'm not a word.
You guys get what we're saying, right? We're talking about libido and desire and all of the fun things that come along with married life. So it has definitely improved our marriage at every level, including
and communication and it's just, I think we're both more patient. We're both more calm. We feel good. Our heads are clear. Our emotions feel less on a roller coaster. And as a woman, that's been a huge thing. When Aunt Flo comes around, a lot of us can literally turn into new people, different people, horrible people. Can be one of those. And so it's really helped. I kind of lost my crap 2 weekends ago, but we won't talk about that. But for the most part, I feel more even, and he reacts better and more calm, to help me kind of, mellow out a little. I can be pretty high strung. He's definitely my anchor most of the time. So, because I can be pretty high strung. But it has definitely helped in more ways than just, the weight loss. So
physical, mental, emotional, and some nights very spiritual. No, I'm just kidding. But but definitely on every level, it has
Yeah.
it has helped improve our lives. So,
Yeah.
so we're about 5 minutes from the hour. I think we're going to call it quits now. No point in trying to improve on perfection. No, I hope at least one person got something out of the call tonight. Uh, I don't always have the energy of Jesse Jamnick, and so he is really tough to follow. And then, of course, Heather Sika Leonard's been filling in lately and doing a pretty bang up job of it too. So I hope that we gave you a little bit tonight that you can take away. And we love being part of this community, and we will be around for a long time. So get used to seeing these new, beautiful, glowing faces because we ain't going nowhere. All right. Thanks a lot. Did you have anything
Thank
else to
you.
say?
I don't think so. Just
All right.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.